I've seen some of his videos. I've seen some of his camera comparisons, and at least I'm glad that he has camera comparisons. I still feel like no one does camera comparisons like me. This font is so big. Yeah, so like obviously this box is very, hold on. That Pixel 4a 5G is just very similar to my Pixel 4a, just the 4a 5G version. But yeah, this Pixel 5, it's like, here we go. Here's a Pixel 5. It's just the font's so big. It doesn't look right.
5 does have a very interesting texture on it, which looks really cool. The Pixel 4a 5G looks very much like the Pixel 4a without 5G.
I think we all knew that. J Mill.
Now, one thing to quickly mention,
that font is goofy looking. Yeah, so at least it's not just me.
Charging.
The 5 font looks counterfeit.
5G does not.
I like that. For anyone that's wondering about this Pixel 4a 5G, as far as the build quality, the materials, it's very reminiscent. It's reminiscent. It's pretty much the exact same thing as the materials on the Pixel 4a. A plastic build, but I don't mind it at all. Is it a little like smudgy and fingerprinty? Yeah, but it's nothing awful.
And then there's this kind of outer shell which has this really interesting feel. This is the
so that's twice now that he said that it has an interesting or a different feel. When someone says it like that, it makes me feel like they don't like it. It's like the nice way of saying that. Why is he saying it that way? Because he got a free Pixel 5? I could be wrong. Maybe it is interesting to him. Maybe it is unique or whatever, but it's like, I want to know, does it feel good or does it not feel good? Wow. So look at this bezel. I mean, it is, so this looks good, right? It's still very, very like minimal kind of bezels, very similar to my Pixel 4a, but this Pixel 5 has really, really thinned out those bezels. You can see up here, the Pixel 4a 5G has that top front firing speaker, right? You guys see that, right? But on the Pixel 5, it's nowhere to be found. It's nowhere to be found because they put that top speaker underneath the display. Is this bezel a little bigger than the bezel here on the Pixel 5? Yes, it is. But I would rather have this extra part of the bezel to accommodate an actual front firing stereo speaker or front firing top speaker. Why? Because at least from what we've been hearing, from what people are saying, that under display speaker, top speaker, just does not perform as well. That sacrifice, I think, wasn't worth it. Is that technology going to get better in the future? Maybe. But right now, I still feel like Google made a mistake doing that. They should have just put an actual external front top speaker there. Gave a little more bezel, because that is not, this isn't that bad. It's not that bad. I feel for most people, they're not even going to notice that kind of thing. Who really is paying attention to the contrast ratio? I mean, as far as brightness, sure, that's definitely going to be an issue if people are having issues in terms of brightness. But with my Pixel 4a, when I use my Pixel 4a, when I go for walks every day in the sun, 2 hours sometimes a day, sometimes longer. I've never really had issues in direct sunlight, but maybe I just use it differently. I don't know. It does look really nice though. This Pixel 5 with the minimal bezels, it looks good. But the 4a 5G, it looks pretty good too. Chris makes a good point here. Chris says you're only going to notice things when you compare it to other phones, and that's a great point. Most people who are going to have the 4a 5G in their hand are going to look at that phone and say, this is a nice full screen display. Yes, the Pixel 5 has less bezel, but most people aren't going to own both of those phones. They're not going to notice it that way, which is also why I got to go back and say, this is why I wish that the Pixel 5 just added a hair more of a bezel on the top to accommodate an actual external speaker. I might be beating that to death, but that's how I feel about it. I still feel like, why would Google omit the telephoto altogether? I still feel very similarly though. Like, this Pixel 5 is quite an expensive price for what it has. The 4a 5G is going to suit a lot of people. The 4a 5G is definitely going to be the better buy, obviously, because it's cheaper. But for people who don't really care much about, IP68 dust and water resistance and wireless charging, the 4a 5G is going to be a great deal at $500. Do you notice this? So I don't know if you guys see this. So that punch hole, right, is right here on the top left, and that's what Google was trying to do with these wallpapers. Google made all these new wallpapers. I don't know if they applied it to the 4a. So my wallpaper is just straight up black. Like I don't use anything. It's a way to save battery as well. But Google tried to do something clever here and make these wallpapers accommodate this hole punch. So obviously it looks like the dog's nose when it's just the hole punch.
It has this kind of recycled cardboard feel.
That's so funny. So did you notice that? Do you notice his reaction to the feel of the Pixel 5? It was exactly, or at least very similar to SuperSaf's reaction. He didn't say it felt good. He was just like, it kind of, like those. Well, I'm glad that they kept that option that you're able to. J Mill, that wallpaper sucks. Yeah. Out of all the wallpapers, because I've seen the wall. Have you seen the wallpapers that has been shown for the Pixel 5? Out of all the wallpapers that could have been used, why is he using that one? I love that comment. Also, Jerome, why do you hate Google Sans font? No. So here's the thing. It's not, I actually think Google's font is one of the best looking fonts. I think it's the fact that it's bolded. Like who said it earlier? I can't remember who said it, where they said it looks like it's counterfeit. Like it seems it's too much. You know what it reminds me of? It's like, have you noticed with cars, every year it seems like the goddamn cars, like their little their badge just gets bigger every year.
But we do kind of have stereo speakers.
Here we go. This is what I was waiting for.
But it also seems like we have an under-screen speaker here because there's no obvious grill, and it's certainly not as loud coming from this side. So you're not getting a fully even stereo effect, but it is certainly better than just a single speaker.
You know what's funny to me is I think he's trying really hard to not say how that speaker sounded up top. He's like, it's just not as loud as the bottom firing one. I don't know if anyone's going to sit here and say that speaker sounds awful. Why not offer a 256 gig option? I don't like the excuse of, well, not many people. I don't care. Like, why not have that option? Apple gives that option. Google wants to be like Apple, even though they don't execute the same goddamn way. But that is the thing that kind of like really, that confuses me. The fact that there's no telephoto lens confuses me. I mean, they got the battery right. This under display camera or this under display speaker that's confusing for me too. Yes, I know we can't have everything, but when we get a 765 chip, I was just expecting perfection. Well, me expecting perfection from Google. They could have upgraded the goddamn camera for the
5.1, not UFS 3 or 3.1, so the storage is also a little bit slower.
Oh, there's no forgot about 6, that too.
There's no Bluetooth 5.1, and there's still no super fast charging or anything. It's still 18 watts.
The ultra-wide camera on the back there as well for the first.
Wow, you know what? It's weird seeing this in black. I think so for a while I was thinking I was just going to keep the green one, but that black one looks pretty good. Look at this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at that. Jesus. That looks so bad. It looks almost embarrassing when compared to the other phones. I get it. Not a lot of people like this hole punch. I get that. I understand that. But this looks, oh my God. Jesus Christ.
But what I can do now is show you some photo and video samples. And I thought it might be interesting.
What? Okay, I'm glad he's able to do that.
Let me know down in the comments below.
What? 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 Was Google watching my stream?